creo que este sería el momento del cual nuestro fundador, Norberto, estaría, porque esta casa que vio nacer al Consejo Argentino para también el diálogo que realizó siempre el Papa Francisco, hoy encuentra a hermanos mormones y aún sin duda una de las personalidades de esta comunidad religiosa, sin duda el doctor Bosca, lugar, no solo que le brinda a toda la comunidad y por lo tanto a todos los ciudadanos de su país y aquellos que nos quieran escuchar. Y hoy nos vemos aquí en esta casa, acompañado por el señor esposa y un grupo queridísimo de la Iglesia mormona, insisto, nos honra. ¿Y por qué nos honra? Porque le da al CARI una gracia que tenemos que agradecer, que es ser, como se lo ha propuesto siempre, una casa. Porque en esta casa hay lugar para todas las ideas, hay lugar para todas las opiniones. Lo que no hay lugar, si ustedes me lo permiten, es para la y el odio. Es decir, todos los que vienen acá, en la puerta, de alguna manera lo que se está proponiendo al entrar al CARI es colaborar de alguna manera, como ellos lo entienden, libertad de todos. Argentina, para esta comunidad, en todos y en cada nuestro corazón, valiente, señor. Y bueno, bienvenidos.
Y dijeron que tenía que hacer internacionales y por lo tanto me ahorró trabajo estar aquí y tratar de conducir por la Iglesia de los Santos, por el CARI, por el Consejo Argentino para la es un organismo de enorme beneficio, digo, para los extranjeros que presenten relaciones internacionales en el país. Hace muchos años que esto no era posible. Hace no tantos años atrás, porque no soy tan viejo, ¿no? Hace pocos años, con otras personas que están aquí presentes, empezamos a una práctica que era bastante novedosa, sobre todo en el ámbito académico, que hoy ya conforma todo una verdadera disciplina, dentro del ámbito del derecho, digamos, con cierta extrañeza, todos los centros de estudios, quiere decir que mirás al tal decano hace, bueno, tantos años atrás. Pero ustedes saben que los abogados somos un peligro porque enseguida. Entonces, antes que nos honra, quiere decir que al presentador para nada.
Señor Secretario de Aires, Dallin y todos ustedes, y hacerlo en esta casa de estudio y reflexión. Las reflexiones hacen para hacer el mundo hoy frente a la guerra de dignidad. Ustedes estudian la Argentina y los ángeles que los mormones llevan a cabo se integran a la sociedad en la que viven y el grado de libertad que tienen para ellos. Sin embargo, los inició con mucha más por el resto de la vida, dando testimonio del proyecto, autoridad, una constante en la vida que lo llevó a servir desde joven en diversas profesiones religiosas. Nacido en Robo, encantadora ciudad de Dallin, lo llevó a trabajar a los 16 años para Universidad que algunos de los presentes hemos tenido el gusto de conocer, está precisamente en Robo. Allí en su hogar con Nixon, matrimonio del que nacieron 6 hijos. Y Leito, que habrá aplicado también con su clara exigencia que trabajan bajo su dirección, pero que según explica, apunta a que se puede y se debe disfrutar del trabajo. Pasó la prestigiosa carta 2 años, que le dio su no, que logró en 1900 decisivo para poner americana busca secretaria en 1997, luego nuestro visitante en la Universidad de Chicago primero y la de Michigan después. Allí presidió la Comisión de Disciplina, que resolver con éxito y con el orden general por su paternidad la situación de los estudiantes que tomaron durante 17 días, también pasaron esas otras edades, el año titularidad es de la Iglesia Austral, una de las administraciones. Considerar aquí que esta universidad referente y promotoria, doctor Bosca, cuya última visita a la Argentina fue para participar en el Congreso Internacional de Libertad Religiosa. Importantes publicaciones cada año, sucede frecuentemente. Académica, presente, podemos dar testimonio. Se preveía quedar hasta su iglesia, por lo que va a decir artículos religiosa, tenemos el gusto de por su constante defensa de una sociedad pluralista. De otra manera, no se respeta el pasado 17 de abril, releí sus palabras de la conferencia episcopal. En 2007, el canal lado a discutir el famoso foro del tabernáculo mormón para él al proceso común. La palabra del cardenal son ilustrativas tenemos hoy. Cuando el gobierno falla en su protección de la conciencia de sus ciudadanos, corresponde a las instituciones religiosas hacerlo. Es interesante su concepto de que la comprensión de la libertad religiosa común de católicos y mormones, que comparten ciudades pequeñas y a veces perseguidas, hasta hoy tener una iglesia de 67 millones de católicos y 6 millones de otros, que nos culpables en la defensa de valores morales de Dios, combatir juntos o separadamente por otros temas decisivos del Papa, el viaje del Papa Francisco. I listen to you having the privilege of your speech. Welcome and thank you for being here today.
My dear friends and fellow workers, I feel honored to have been introduced by Roberto Padilla as the team counsel on religious freedom. His gracious introduction. I feel privileged to address that is not sufficient. As you know from today's saints, known by many clergy, to spend the rest of not unusual for me, a world leader of religious freedom is grounded in my religious faith. I serve you best by giving you a brief explanation of that faith to understand the position from which one of the unique things about the doctrine of the Church of Jesus continues to call promise to our current circumstances. God said that he has rights and protection that what contains heaven and stable and just have observed the influence of the United States Constitution in Argentina's Constitution. Although Mormons do not know all the laws enacted under this Constitution or of the sometimes inappropriate actions, consider that prophetic statement to be an endorsement of the fundamental principles of that Constitution. Formable that the government should consequently 1% of the high fear leads the way. Effective protection. I'm familiar with the United States, Latin America, of religious freedom on the application of these principles. I begin with a brief Constitution. Freedom of religion, cornerstone of American democracy. This includes or prohibiting the exercise of religion. The British North American colonies were originally settled by people who, for the most part, without persecution, religious freedom first in the nation's Bill of Rights. The guarantee of religious freedom is also the nation, both one and two interference with citizens of many different religious beliefs. The right of qualified by the government interests. For example, the government from neighbors whose religious security of others and judges have wrestled with for many years, not the necessary accommodation. Beyond the borders of the United States, the idea that the free leaves the right of conscience counsels persuasively do not practice their religion as a solitary act. Vision is set forth in Article 5 when, as elaborated, comes in its community, in the individual's fellowship fourth is the right to undertake educational, cultural, charitable, and social efforts as they choose. With all of that as background, I come and the religious label to society. The religion is mostly in modern times, and religious believers are current media attention to is focused on the atrocities of certain extremists. While such perpetrators attempt to justify their actions on the fringe have condemned their actions, do not qualify for the religious freedom I advocate. Moreover, great atrocities through the ages must face the fact that the mass killing the killing fields of Africa have tribal differences. The celebration of the value of religion marks here by religious organizations, hospitals, airports, other charities of great value to our country in Western religious principles. Examples of the slave trade in England and the Emancipation Proclamation for the last half century, motivated or moved by, they were driven on what was more held together primarily by those who voluntarily obey the unenforceable because of their internalized norms of religion, righteous or correct behavior. Religious belief in right and wrong, vital influence to produce such voluntary compliance by a large majority of citizens. The first president of the United States, George McCloy, religion, or reason, both forbid us to expect that national morality can prevail in religious principles. End of quote. Over 200 years later, he declares freedom of religion undergirds the very origin and existence of the United States. Normally associates our former chief rabbi of the United Congregations of the British Commonwealth. Quote, religion, he said, is a powerful community builder, the world antidote to the idea that society, journalist Melanie Phillips, a religious believer, grounded in religion, or undermines these values. That is the end of the rabbi and the economics and government. I maintain that the teachings and free practice of religion are essential in a law school lecture views and political perpetuation of this nation's public life. The religious freedom is not just also have a strong interest and stability in our plural world. The protection of conscience is a vital ingredient for stability because it helps people from a wide spectrum of belief feel assured deepest concerns and values are respected and protected. The extent in Argentina is for us to determine. A further indication of the value of emerging interest in institutions. The European United Kingdom has, and there is also a working parliament. That the Brazilian, a parliamentary coalition for religious freedom. It's a well-respected lawmaker, spoken of the value and growth. Those who are interested in social protection in a celebrated state. Professor Brian Leiter, his book, published by the Princeton University Press. He was answered decisively, in my view, by Professor Michael W. McConnell in a Yale law. My assertion about their qualification for special legal may sound naive to some in the United States, and I suspect it has moved strongly, has also belief in God and the consequent reality of God and the idea of ultimate relativism, anger against religion. But I now by said on key occasions about God and religious practices like prayer, and compare these religious reverent references in history books, informal conspiracy in the founding of the state of belief in, or scholars have observed that the role of religion in the United century, Argentina, states affiliated with any religious denomination now 33%. Half of the diminishing proportion who have no denominational affiliation, mostly young people, have a genuine antipathy towards organized religion. Of Harvard and David Campbell of Notre Dame for religious observance in the coming decades are substantially diminished. The guarantee of free exercise of religion, public esteem in favor of religion, political correctness that seek its replacement by other priorities. The writer for the Christian Science Monitor predicts that the coming century will be very secular and religiously antagonistic, with intolerance of Christianity in our lifetime. There are other disturbing signs that the significance of religious freedom is diminishing. Despite that reality, U.S. scholars are contending the message in a world full of messages, not something to be given unique or special protection. In a book titled Freedom of Religion, takes the extreme position that religious speech should have even less protection. As noted earlier, another author published a book titled Why Tolerate Religion? Bishop Cardinal Francis George spoke at Brigham Young University a few years ago. He referred to religious freedom in America that are new to our history and to our culture. He gave two examples. One concerning the threats to current religious-based exemptions from participating in abortion, and the other, the development of gay rights for same-sex marriage. He also spoke of possible government punishment for churches or religious leaders whose doctrines lead them to refuse to participate in government-sponsored programs. Legal commentator Hugh Hewitt described another of these threats. For 3 decades, I quote, for 3 decades, faith has watched a systematic and very effective effort waged in the courts and the media to drive religion from the public square and to delegitimize participation in politics as somehow threatened. Powerful secular interests in the United States are challenging the way religious beliefs and the practices of faith-based organizations stand in the way of their secular aims. The many and increasing circumstances are sought to be swept aside or subordinated to the asserted civil rights officially favored groups. As we seek to preserve free speech, or all speech in the exercise, this is evident in the person of religious expression, and to expand the so-called civil rights of dignity, autonomy, self-fulfillment, a person's new trajectory of events toward freedom of religion by forcing it by such speech. Other efforts seek to intimidate persons with religious basic from influencing or making the laws of their state or nation. Such advocates should ask, how will the great movements for social justice in the United States, such as the abolition of slavery, advocated and pressed toward adoption, if their religious ban from the public square by insistence that private religious or moral positions were not a rational basis for public discourse. What has caused the current public and legal climate of religion? In this, my second major point, I urge weakening guarantees of the free exercise of religion attributable to causes that are legal, but to changes in culture. The diminishing value being ascribed to religious freedom stems from the ascendancy of relativism and the expanding variety of intellectual orders that I will refer to under that broad label. Today, an increasing and influential group deny or doubt the existence of a God and insist that all rules of behavior are man-made, to be accepted or rejected as one chooses. Because there's no such thing as right and wrong, we live in an increasingly godless and the denial of God or the downplaying of the Son has become pervasive today. This glorifying of human reasoning has had good effects and bad. The work of science has made innumerable improvements in our lives. It has also contributed to the rejection of divine authority as the ultimate basis of by those who have substituted for God. In contrast, many religious people are asking why the viewpoints of philosophers of the liberal tradition should be thought moral decisions than the will of God. Time does not permit an attempt to identify all of the various aspects of moral relativism or the extent to which they've entered the culture or consciousness of our respective nations and their people. But the following are some observations of respective scriptures. In his book, Modern Times, the British author Paul Johnson writes, at the beginning of the 1920s, the belief began to circulate for the first time at a popular level that there were no longer any absolutes of time, space, of good and evil, of knowledge, of all of value. Similar realization of society, Dr. Gertrude Himmelfarb describes how the virtues associated with good and evil have been degraded into relative values. I believe that those who use human reasoning to simply say divine influence in their lives have diminished themselves and cheapened civilization in the process. I agree with the observers I will quote who condemn the consequences of moral relativism and affirm the existence of God as the lawgiver and the source of the absolute truth which is good from evil. Harold Kushner speaks of God-given attributes of good and evil built into the human soul. He writes, "You affirm the existence of God, who stands for morality and makes moral demands of us, who built a law of truthfulness into his world, even as he built in the law of gravity. Or else, you give everyone one's conscience against the voice of temptation." Rabbi Kushner also observes that a philosophy that rejects the idea of absolute right and wrong inevitably leads to a deadening of conscience. Without God, it would be a world where no one was outraged by crime or cruelty, neither room for tenderness, generosity, helpfulness, and kindness. Dr. Timothy Keller, a much publicized Protestant pastor in New York, asked, "You eliminate anything from the Bible that offends your sensibility and crosses your will. If you pick and choose what you want to believe and reject the rest, will you ever have a God who can contradict you? You won't. Though we've been taught that all moral values are relative to individual actual practice, we inevitably treat some principles as absolute standards by which we judge the behavior of those who don't share our values. People who are moral order not think that racial genocide is practical. And my esteemed fellow apostle, Elder Neil A. Maxwell, society set priorities if there are we to make our calculations using only the arithmetic of averages? He followed with this practical idea. Decrease the belief in God, and you increase those who wish to play at being God by being supervisors. Such supervisors of divine standards, but are very serious about imposing their own standards on society. When people do not believe in absolute and in a God who will hold them and their government leaders accountable, the ascendancy of moral relevance religious freedom because it encourages the of rights to claim ascendancy to exercise of religion. The trend of religious liberty has stated the goal with which at the close of his notable article on diplomacy and the means to protect human dignity and bolster civil religion and the boundaries of liberal democracy. And achieving that goal will require extensive international cooperation, including many of the kinds of international and multinational organizations mentioned earlier. The enormous challenges of religious freedom are beyond what can be achieved by any one government. As our good friend religious freedom and multi-sector collaboration, the involvement of nations and multinational organizations is necessary and valuable, but not sufficient. The preservation of religious freedom depends on understanding of and support for this vital capacity. Right and wrong in churches, mosques, believers and non-believers must be understand that it is faith in God, however defined, that transcends religious teachings into the moral behavior that benefits the nation, at least in the importance of the moral absolutes taught by religious leaders. The importance of religion will be better understood and supported. Many will also believe that religious leaders preach right and wrong, make a unique contribution, have spent important efforts to strengthen religious freedom. We're cheered by the rising concern and vigorous advocacy of many influential religious leaders. The U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops has created an ad hoc committee for religious freedom. We also have essential voices of Protestant evangelical leaders such as Pastor Rick Warren, who has stated his belief that religious liberty is going to be the civil rights issue of the next decade. We all agree with Cardinal Year's inter-religious coalition formed to defend the rights of conscience for individuals and for religious institutions should become a vital bulwark against to reduce religion to a purely private reality. Religious leaders and believers must unite to strengthen our freedom to teach what we have in common, as well as to teach and exercise our very real religious differences. Watch, shoulder, secure our freedom to pursue ways when that is necessary for imposing that religious leaders unite more effectively require any examination of the doctrinal differences among Christians, Jews, or even an identification of many common elements of our beliefs. All that is necessary for unity and a broad coalition to defend and promote religious freedom, common belief, beings are endowed with conscience, the critical faculty that guides our understanding of the standards of human behavior that we believe have been established by a supreme being. All who accept that fundamental unite more effectively to produce beliefs, whatever they are. As we work to protect religious freedom, we concern with the sincere beliefs of others. We should be wise in explaining and position and in exercising our influence. We should seek the understanding and support of non-believers, and we must also enlist actions of governments and appropriate multinational bodies. All of this is necessary to preserve the great good that religious organizations and believers can accomplish for the benefit of all.
Bueno, no entendí mal las palabras de los trabajos. Dije algo parecido a él, en el sentido del proceso de secularización y la pérdida del sentido religioso social. Esto es una observación. Un partido lo puso al calor en Viola. Él me dijo que no era tan exacto lo que yo decía, en el mundo había un crecimiento, sobre todo en los países, concretamente el Islam. El Islam hace poco ha salido, digamos ya pocos años, hablando incluso de 2050, y eso me llevó a pensar que, sobre todo por efecto del humanismo secular, la visión humanista, estaba dirigida en los países de tradición cristiana a la estructura religiosa de las religiones establecidas, en el sentido de que me parece a mí que hay un criterio dominante en gran parte de la vida social, la autoridad como una actitud institucional, anti-institucional. Como digo, ven que, digamos, la autoridad tiene un muerto en el ropero, en el placar, ¿no? Un muerto en el placar. A veces es así, ¿no? Pero no siempre. Quiero que también podríamos, y eso es lo que quería preguntarle, ver si, digamos, si aquí hay, digamos, un cuestionamiento, o de ese sentido, digamos, de cuestionamiento a la autoridad en general y en particular a la autoridad de las religiones establecidas. Bueno, cuando ustedes hagan preguntas, traten de no hacer un discurso como dice Sosa.
It is a very good question. And a difficult answer.
Es una muy buena pregunta y una muy difícil para responder.
It invites me to clarify
Me invita a aclarar
my opinion for the future.
para el futuro.
I agree that Islam expands rapidly,
Creo que el Islam se expande rápidamente,
and this is a source of concern for religious freedom.
porque algunas ramas del Islam no entienden la libertad
This
religiosa.
is very evident.
Eso es muy evidente.
I do not the view of all the branches of Islam,
Yo no considero que esa sea la visión de todas las ramas
but
del Islam,
as supposed to be a greater influence numerically.
pero a medida que el Islam crezca para ser numéricamente una influencia en el mundo,
We need to understand the different beliefs of Islam,
entender las diferentes creencias del Islam
which those leaders
y animar a esos líderes
accommodating Western society and its freedom.
que están acomodando la sociedad occidental la visión de la libertad religiosa.
Also, in the future,
También al mirar hacia el futuro,
we may see expansion of people who Christian faith
quizá veamos una expansión en la gente que reclama las observaciones.
cause me concern
Me preocupan, me causan preocupación,
because there are strong indications
porque hay indicaciones muy fuertes
that many who believe with Christianity do not accept it.
que muchos de los que se afilian al cristianismo no aceptan sus creencias.
I hope that we are not seeing a hollowing out of Christianity
Un hueco en la cristiandad a medida que avanza,
because that subject of authority, which you mentioned,
porque ese tema de autoridad que usted
is fundamental to a society,
es una sociedad,
whether it's a government
sea gobierno o religión
or an informal society.
o una sociedad informal.
There must be adherence to certain fundamentals based on.
Debe haber fundamentalmente adherencia a cierta autoridad.
So, from authority,
Cuando escuchamos que las generaciones más jóvenes se quieren alejar de la autoridad,
that's a worry in my faith and the people's.
algunos ejemplos desafortunados de perseguir a otros pueblos.
I have a great grandfather
Yo tengo un bisabuelo
who served a prison term because of his Mormon beliefs.
que fue enviado a prisión debido a sus creencias mormonas.
We are on a journey,
Pero estamos en un viaje, en una jornada,
and we is upward to freedom and moral values.
y esperamos que ese viaje sea en cuanto a la libertad y los valores morales.
So I think we should not be imprisoned by bad acts of the past,
Así que creo que no debemos ser aprisionados,
but we should be inspired by values of the future.
sino que debemos ser inspirados por valores del futuro.
Usted hablaba de derechos o decisiones de la política que pueden tomarse para afectar la libertad religiosa. ¿Qué pasa cuando los nuevos derechos seculares, para que uno pueda seguir sintiéndose partir de su libertad religiosa?
Religiosa prevalece.
And the employer
El empleador o el propietario puede decir, no, yo elijo no tener empleo o en casa.
line could be drawn in a different way.
Ahora esta línea puede trazarse en diferentes maneras.
My church did not dictate the terms of this law.
La iglesia no de esta ley,
We do not
no hacemos eso.
principles.
Aplicamos principios,
We advocated some compromise that was responsive to the desires of religion.
y a los derechos.
I think that is,
Creo que esta es de la manera en que este tipo de conflictos se puede resolver.
as a former judge, I say, let's not by judgment.
Como un ex, digo, no deje que esto lo solucionen los jueces. Tipo. ¿Hay una pregunta?
La pregunta es, en Argentina vemos con mucha... La pregunta es sobre jueces. En Argentina vemos con mucha preocupación los fallos que se están dictando en la Corte Europea sobre ciertas limitaciones a la libertad religiosa. Lo bamaquea, los capellanes,
I passed on the trajectory.
En cuanto a Argentina,
I
creo que en Estados Unidos tenemos esta tradición.
and I think people religious freedom
Creo que la libertad religiosa, la responsabilidad de responder a este nivel de sabiduría
blinds religious freedom and
puestos en un sistema de casa.
not by
Estoy abogando que tomen esa decisión
take place
en el la religiosa era sacrificar animales como parte de la práctica. Tuviéramos esta práctica.
marqué para que sepa. Agradecer a todos ustedes la presencia hoy aquí y agradecer nuevamente al doctor Bosca